Let's do it. The FNCS second qualifier has been incredible to watch unfold this weekend. We knew what we were signing up for, but it's another thing to see it unfold firsthand here at Taco. And now we get to jump in with the legends, Duke and Threats.
And Duke and Threats trying to keep things going right now up against the likes of Fredbot and his duo, but Duke from above, only a layer or two up over Fredbot for the time being, but that might be all it takes. Duke gonna force Fredbot, have to expend one of his shield potions is now. Duke also, I think, wary of the fact that he doesn't want to lose sight of Fredbot's duo anytime soon. He's got Craze kind of on the ropes here. And really, it's just a matter of time before that medallion gets Threats back to 50 shield, but Duke gonna opt to spend his time a little bit more wisely, recognizing the fact that that engagement's taking a little bit too long.
Not looking too good right here for Cooper and Miro. Miro's down, fully eliminated here to the hands of a pretty experienced duo, so I respect Cooper's decision to go ahead and back out right now. This is a team that has been performing well within the top 10, all in all. Not quite the pacing of a first place position team like Peterbot, who just had a, extraordinary run today. It's still great nonetheless. Exactly what you expect of a FNCS global champion. On the other side, high ground, see Chimp and Scissors in control of this battle so far. Very comfortable Coop and Team Moose down low. These are players that are also very much experienced in their own rights.
For a lot of these players too, it's definitely one of those circumstances where you can definitely tell that some of these teams or players that are left in solo positions for the final lobby that they might find themselves in, they're making the most of their situation regardless. Is now picked back up with Duke and Threats, Fredbot, Craze here at Grand Glacier. And Duke, for a moment there, it seemed like he was going to get a nice edit to maybe take a shot over at Fredbot. Instead, it's going to be a reposition. Now Craze again, scurrying around some of these builds. And it's again, just a lot of time to expend in this engagement. Keep in mind, there's another team not too far away from where this action is taking place. They're likely capable of hearing some of the shots that are unfolding. It's Fredbot now finds himself in the same box as his duo Craze. Flowberry Fizz going to come out, but there's a little bit of that third-party action. Some shots onto the back walls there for Craze and Fredbot. Makes them just take a run for the hills, run towards safety. They don't want to get pincered between Duke, Threats, and this other team that's coming in for the third-party opportunity.
You can see Threats and Duke under no pressure here, even deciding, hey, we can wait this out. We got medallions. Let's go ahead and just allow that to cap off our shields here instead of wasting what they had. I was a little bit curious as to why they wouldn't have wanted to finish the battle the first time, and you can see what happens when you wait around. You just give more room to get third party. For Parz and Bacca, a team that's been performing exceptional here, one of the few to actually break into the back-to-back victory royale thresholds. Well played thus far, staying true into their performance. As we start gearing up for the upper and lower brackets, the set lobbies, if you will. I mean, I'm curious to see how the teams that performed at the upper echelon, right? The teams that could get all the elims and still win, perform under set lobby settings. Things are going to be drastically different in the coming weeks.
And it is all about making that initial qual in the first place. Whether it's upper bracket or lower bracket, all of these teams just want their FNCS run to continue. And it starts and ends here today, really, because if you don't make it into lowers, at minimum, that is the end of your FNCS journey. So a little bit of heartbreak to follow. So a huge shout out to all of our competitors that competed throughout weeks 1 and week 2 here, because this has not been an easy feat by any means.
Yeah, what I will say that's fun about this type of format is the randomness. Like, you never really know who you're gonna get at your drop and whatnot. I think it does require a certain level of precision, right? Where set lobbies, folks like to claim drops. You kind of know what you're going to get into. You can almost simulate them in advance, right? You can practice for variables, whereas in this format, you can't really prepare for the variable that is an incredible team who's on a run, right? And they just so happen to either be in your lobby or maybe not. Or you get a couple of great teams that are just heated up, fired up into your game, and it has created some very interesting, all-in-all gameplay today.
And I mean, adding on to that, even we talk about drop spots. I mean, so many of our veteran duos, even players, if they're a newer duo but they're a veteran player, there is a certain level of respect, that's already been established. So oftentimes you'll see a lot of those veteran players where they get the uncontested drop spot normally, but I just don't think that that's feasible in this type of format for drops to be. It's not that they're being disrespected by any means, it's just everybody's got their own idea of their ideal drop spot and how they've been practicing, and they want to do everything in their power to replicate it, even if it means a newer duo having to tackle the likes of a more experienced one. And that's why I think I've definitely loved seeing the way that some of these newer teams have also dealt with that pressure. They don't have as much experience fighting off spawn.
Yeah, and just to kind of make that story come full circle, Cooper knowing very well that he was able to pick up the reboot card, circle back and pick up his teammate Miro here later into the round is an excellent example of teams that are experienced and being able to apply, their experience to the game here and come out, in a much more effective position, as opposed to if Cooper tried to all in that duo earlier today when Miro got dropped. So little plays like that, little experiences like that, we definitely love to see it all continue to play out and be applied. As we jump in with typical gamer Noah plays, ends up finding their way into the final queued lobby here. I wonder where they sit, all in all. We've seen them a few times here on the broadcast. We already know that this is a team that is desperately clinging on to a performance here in order to make it to the brackets.
And right now, if they want to keep, the leaderboard scoring as high as possible, this is a team that's seemingly setting up to play exclusively for placements right now, Monster, because they are making this massive wraparound rotation, trying to see if they can catch the dead side of the zone possibly. On the other note, though, Threats and Duke. Threats managing to get a little bit of revenge here for his duo mate. Does lose Duke, which is unlucky, but fortunately enough, there's a reboot van. So Threats.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy the fight ended, right? Like, they've been here since we started this game, and it just concluded. Keep in mind, they have 5 elims, so it wasn't just like they were there fighting them. No. They were busy fighting everyone else, and still ended up fighting them in the storm.
Nice solo clutch, though, from Threats with that in mind. And again, solo clutches, they're definitely starting to seem like a little bit of Threats' mantra at this point, because regardless of it being a duo that he's been with multiple times or not, it's just impressive to see him consistently finding those moments where they matter most, because Duke and Threats, they definitely just want to keep, again, trying to secure as high of a placement as possible, even though they are looking good as far as the series points is concerned.
Jumping in with Subscript and Freeze here. Just outside the Rift Island, so many teams here. What is happening? Is everyone capping? Yeah, it looks like everyone's looking to use and utilize the rotates here. So out come the Rifts. There's teams positioned all over. I'm surprised the whole lobby hasn't burned Subscript out the sky at this point. But they just open up the opportunity for the entire rest of the season lobby here to go ahead and jump in. Experienced teams in the air there, Zypha and others, amongst all others. And I like this. Now using the grapple hook. Yeah, get all the way up to high ground here. Little does you know there's a team up here, but this position is fantastic.
It's definitely a much better position than what you would have imagined you would actually find. Because I'm right there with you. The fact that he was able to take the rift and confidently glide through the skies without being shot down immediately, it almost seems more impressive than securing this high position in the first place.
Teams to note up here as well, Bacca and Parz definitely being one of them. A team that's dominant, a team that's good, a team that's consistent on the day with good positioning on the zone right here. You have to assume they're primed to win this one all. And notice they haven't done it flashly, right? They've, you know, really eased their way into end games, played for positioning, played for placement more than eliminations. A couple times we've watched them edge towards end games. They were not the teams that had a bunch of elims. That's just not been their playstyle.
Sometimes keeping a low profile can definitely work to your advantage, and it just doesn't seem like they're willing to take on any unnecessary risk, and for good reason. I mean, if Bacca and Parz are able to finish the day strong, I'm sure it's just going to be a nice little confidence booster while they sit out the bye week and wait for semis to actually start taking place.
Look at this. Pamsta and Lawrence thought they were super slick trying to camp the launch pad here. Team ends up pre-firing just in case there was some waiting in the box, and it turns out, of course, they were. Why wouldn't they be? Meanwhile, NPen finds an elim in the feed there, so NPen still in the mix here. Alongside his duo mate Mason. Gamsu notes exactly where he wants to land, tries to get a peach of that touchdown, and he does get it. Nicely done for him.
Will lose a little bit of shield in the process, but that's what the small shield potions are for, after all. As Cam and Aminish. Aminish, though, definitely looks like he could use some shield. I don't know if Cam's going to have an opportunity, but with a medallion to split, no problem. Aminish will start to get some shield regen going. Ample med kits to spread around as well. So much ammo as well here for Cam, so he could definitely extend this box fight engagement if necessary between his materials and ammunition. That's why I think we see Gamer and Noah opting to just look to see if they can maybe tarp some of those layers for themselves. Seems like a lot of those builds were pre-existing, not necessarily belonging to Gamer or Noah. Probably just trying to create their own space there, and Chimp and Sears kind of in the same predicament.
I'm just, you know, surprised that Typical Gamer and Noah are still alive right now. Noah plays, this is their last chances here to go ahead and really push their way up, really make a dent in the standings. Like we said before, an opportunity for them to make it to a bracket seat, a bracket positioning. Take a look here though, Chimp and Sires. Got to make a move, got to make the rotate.
Uh-oh. Waiting for the crash pad.
Gotta let things connect for a second there. Looking at Chimp, looking back though, Sires is hurt. Doesn't land exactly where he thought he would, as far as safety is concerned. It's Zyphin short, desperate to find elims, by the way. So that's a very scary team to be in front of. And look at this, he needs damage. He needs to find a little bit more. Little does he know, if he just shoots through the box there, just free elims in front of him. There it is, knocks Zypha.
That's a big knock. Don't know if it came when he needed it most, though, because Chimp will wind up losing Sears on the rotate. That's certainly a tough loss here, because now Chimp, looking very low, doesn't have any heals whatsoever. Basically gonna have to depend on finding a pick-off somewhere and hoping that whatever solo or duo he manages to take out will have the supplies necessary to keep his final lobby going strong. But again, how strong can a solo be in a sea of duos, especially ones like the likes of Bacca and Parz?
Still no elims though for Bacca and Parz. Keep positioning to keep positioning, but it hasn't quite converted. I think they finally got a knock. Don't know if the finish is going to come through. However, here comes the launch pad out. They set it up for their advantage here. This is a Crazy place for the game to end, by the way. I didn't even realize it's right under the Rift Island. A lot of high ground, a lot of mobility, tons of positions to play, you know, into some trickery here. Miro and Cooper still alive as well. Back from the grave, mind you. Miro was completely finished out. You can see it really weighing into the loadout, but there it is. Finally, things should start to come together for them now as they find a refresher. Duke and Threats, very much experienced team on the other side of the wall, putting pressure in. Cooper doing an excellent job leading them out right now.
Look, that elim might not have led to any sort of shield heals just yet for Miro, but getting the grapple, I think, is a huge win in Miro's case. Yeah, and the mats, as small as they might be, every mat counts at this point.
Definitely. Allowed them to stay alive this far, so back Parz and Bacca finally, elim on the counter. Typical gamer Noah W Play still alive in this game as well. The dream is real. They are holding on. Meanwhile, Parz and Bacca find a team on their layer. Bacca with the save when Parz had his guard down there. And this is going to force them to fully stop here. Win condition being utilized. This might be a blessing in disguise. The fact that Miro and Cooper are very, very much damaged. You do not want them healthy in a lobby like this where a typical gamer needs to stay alive longer. When Bacca and Parz want to solidify a top positioning spot on the standings, just to flex it. At this point, we know they're going to the upper bracket, but it's always nice.
Oh.
Don't count them out.
For a moment, I really thought they were going to round the corner and it was going to be the Miro show. An actual miracle, though, that Miro and Cooper have made it this far on such limited HP. Gamer and Noah, though, they are lurking.
Typical gamer still in this. Noah W plays on his own layer, his own world. No idea why Typical Gamer is alive, but by himself in the low ground. I see, though, he has no mats, and he gets caught out by Duke and company. They're top 10, though. Should Noah W Plays just stay alive a little bit longer, there is positioning to be had here. We already know the positioning swings you so far up the standings. How far can they go? Miro creating a havoc down on the low ground, 2 HP. Dukes is down, Threats is solo, backside, big tag. Miro finishes him 2 into the box. See, this is just what a back-to-back-to-back-to-back FNCS champion looks like. Noah finds Miro, though, to keep his run alive, and it's a top 5 position for him now.
But Noah immediately gets charged upon. Bacca, Parz sticking it to the low ground. Now it's Anita season. Rafiki up on top with 3 medkits. And it's those extra little bit of mats, though, that Parz and Bacca, they recognize, hey, we need to find some heals. Bacca, though, 2 floppers.
Oh my gosh.
And 3 medkits. I have to imagine that might have just been a spot that Bacca and Parz likely marked much earlier on, because Bacca, just zero hesitation. Rafiki has no idea what's about to hit him. Probably going to be in straight awe, because Rafiki had 3 medkits to start with, but Bacca still has 2.
What's incredible about that is that Bacca found floppers at the very, very precise moment that he needed them, and had just enough time to use it before Pamstool could let off a shot there. And just like that, Bacca and Parz probably picked up the most, if not tied for the most victory royales on the day for the final game of the weekend here for the FNCS qualifier number 2. And that surely is going to solidify themselves a wonderful position up the standings.
Hey, it always feels good to be one of the final teams collecting one of the final victory royales on the day, and it did not come easy, but I love the patience, the amount of discipline that we saw from Bacca and Parz. Numerous instances where they were in really strong positioning, really strong footholds over the rest of the lobby. They could have looked to charge and be a lot more aggressive than they were, but they recognized the fact, hey, we've got a winning formula as is. Why force it?
Hey, respect to Bacca and Parz. Congratulations on another victory royale. Very well played, very well executed, and also respect to Rafiki making it that far as well. Second place for him. We'll see how that ends up playing out for him, Taco. From us, though, any last words before we start wrapping up?
I'm really happy with what we saw from weeks 1 to now here in week 2, Monster. I'm just excited to see how everything pans out. Who's in the upper bracket? Who made it to lowers?
Well, for myself, Monster D-Face, and the best taco here, we're going to be wrapping things up and sending it to the desk to bring us on home.